the cost of acquisition of a e-commerce customer in Sweden or in Finland is at the moment so high that brands are turning to opening physical stores.
A brand having a 40% returning customer rate, they can do 50% more revenue compared to a brand who has only like 10% returning customer rate without any new customer acquisition cost. Even if you have a points program set up, I would just definitely think that, trying out different solutions, just to experiment with what combination of a points program, VIP tiers or memberships work well for you.
Hello and welcome to the very first Flying with Shopify episode that we will do in English, since my Hungarian is probably the same as my today's guest Polish, meaning we know a few words. And today's episode is going to be all about customer retention and loyalty. And my today's guest is Marton Kosdi-Kovacs, who is a founder of Love Loyalty app. Marton, welcome to the show. I hope I've got your last name right.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. I really appreciate it and happy to be here. Yeah, you got it right.
Okay. So I had like a quick tutorial from you. Wasn't that difficult as some of the names. So Marton, I'd like to start with a story I've already told you before. Last time we had a chance to speak, but I think it shows like why the subject that we're gonna discuss today is so critical to merchants. So I was attending some Shopify meetup in Stockholm, and I had a chance to talk to some agencies that are supporting local brands and merchants there, and they shared some like maybe story that was kind of shocking to me, because the cost of acquisition of a e-commerce customer in Sweden or in Finland is at the moment so high that brands are turning to opening physical stores and doing like the proper brick and mortar stuff, and that's how high this cost can be. And I think that some people may think that this is some edge case, but the reality is that this cost of acquisition are getting higher and higher in e-commerce. And e-commerce is not just I know something that we add to like regular business, but it's driving most of the like retail businesses now.
Yeah, I mean, I was super surprised to hear that as well. I mean, that it's that radical of an increase and of a change. But yeah, that's the case. So we hear from many merchants that acquiring new customers are super expensive. Just for one statistic here that I learned is that in the last 2 years, the customer acquisition cost in the e-commerce world increased by 40%, or between 40 and 50%. So I think that's quite of a huge increase, and I think that is why that is partly why there are a lot of more focus now on retaining customers.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like 20 years ago when you just start an e-commerce and just target only new customers, basically. So I believe that like this, aware brands know that you need to like take care of existing customers, and that it's cheaper to sell to your existing customers rather than acquiring the new ones. But there's still, I believe there's still like a lot of things you can do to touch down on this retention and loyalty thing, and just max it up. Okay, so Marton, when we're thinking about loyalty and retention, I believe that most listeners will have in mind something like just like collecting points and exchanging it for some, I don't know, for some goods basically, and or using points somewhere in the checkout. But I believe this is kind of not, this picture is not up to date, and the loyalty system have evolved over time.
Yeah, definitely. So I think there's nothing wrong with like traditional points programs, and for some brands those work really well. But what we are always trying to do is to take a look at this whole area from the end customer's point of view. So like the first step that is super important for the customers is to like be able to connect with the brand themselves and like to purchase a good product. So like that is the basic. And after that they really want to have like a seamless and flawless experience when purchasing a product, and just providing a simple points program and trying to make them want to come back based on that. It's super hard in today's world as customers have like many choices to choose from. So you really have to be smart about how you think about loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you start with a simple points program, I think brands really have to experiment on what really matters to their customers. Where are the steps when they are interested in signing up for or a loyalty program or for a membership program? They really need to understand like what value they should provide to the customers. Like, should it be discounts, or should it be like free products or early drops on some specific products? So yeah, definitely over the last years it got more complex, as brands need to make real connections with their customers, to make them want to stay.
Mm-hmm. And are there any innovations like in this area recently? Like I believe that memberships might be something new that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, I think that it's coming from the same fact that customers really want to connect with the brands. Once they connect
Mhm.
with the brand, they don't really care about uh, a points program as much as about the brand itself. And the membership is, I think, like paying for a membership plan. It means like being part of a smaller community that is connected to the brand. And in today's landscape, I think the whole loyalty program, or loyalty and retention stuff really leans toward memberships. uh, so, which means basically offering or selling customers yearly or monthly membership plans, which gives them benefits. It could
Mhm.
be discounts, but it could be like customized perks, or early access to products, or access uh, to different products which can only be accessed by these members. So yeah, this is kind of an innovation that starts to get its way nowadays.
Yeah, I feel like it makes a lot of sense, and we had recently a conversation on branding and like being a brand advocate and so on. I believe that like this sort of commitment or statement, like being a part of being a member of some brands club, is something that people might want to yeah, I mean, like aspire to, and make some statement and confirm their identity probably. So it's like, yeah, very interesting angle here. And okay, so we have like memberships, we have points programs. We have tiers or something like that as well, right?
Yeah.
So how do I know which one to choose? You said that it's worth experimenting, and
Yeah,
how yeah.
yes. I think I think the right setup can be different to brands. Obviously, there are like industry differentiators,
Mhm.
and also it can depend on the size of the brand, like how well known is the brand and stuff like that. But I think um, all brands should experiment around what kind of loyalty programs to use. So should it be a points program or VIP tiers or memberships, or many times the combination
Mhm.
of these different tools is the right solution. For example, for a brand that recently started out, I think that introducing a simple points program that is easy to understand. Let's say, I don't know, you spend $1, then you get 1 point, and
Mhm.
stuff like that. That is the easiest way to go about it, and then see how your customers are really using it, whether they are redeeming their points, whether they are coming back at all, and then change based on these insights. So
Mhm.
I think you really need to experiment around that.
Okay, so that brings me to another question, because I think like this, like obvious question one might have is, how do I know if this loyalty program is working for me? So what are the metrics and some key key factors I should consider, like when evaluating the effectiveness?
I think if it's really effective, that you're gonna see your sales numbers growing, so you're gonna have like
Mhm.
higher revenue. But usually loyalty tools or like any kind of retention tools, they have an analytics page, and in this analytics page you can check how much revenue they generated,
Mhm.
and based on that you can check what percentage of this is compared to your altogether revenue. So like checking what percentage comes from the returning customers, and whether those returning customers are redeeming with their points or signed up to the loyalty or membership program at all. When it comes to memberships, you can just check like how many of your customers are members,
Mhm.
and how many
Okay.
of them are paying for a membership. That's obviously super
Yeah.
important to check. But yeah, the generated revenue, the return on investment. Usually, these programs also show the return on investments. Um, the If it's a points program, then the point redemption rate. So like a 10% point redemption rate is actually not bad. After like 2 or 3 weeks, it's a good benchmark. Um, yeah, and also it's not it's a bit more manual analysis, but using screen recordings or on checking what customers actually do who have points, and whether they are using their points, whether they are checking their point balance at the account page, whether they are reading about the points programs, or checking what rewards they could earn. I think doing this is super important, as well as to talk with the ones who are retaining and redeeming their points, to see what their real motivation is, and
Mhm.
just change the program based on that.
Yeah, I believe like talking to your customers and is always like the most valuable source of information and insights. So 100% agree. I have one more question, like on this line of talking. I was wondering if there is some maybe you can share some stats on what is like this, average return on investment on implementing loyalty program? And the second question is like, what is like the healthy factor of my customers that are like rolled into the program?
It's hard to tell at the moment because currently, with Shopify using new customer accounts,
Hmm.
this means that basically uh, almost everyone who purchases on the site signs up as a customer, and many of them gets loyalty points just for signing up. So it's a bit hard to measure, but I think if you get like, if I would rather talk about what is a good metric of getting them to retain with the
Okay.
loyalty program.
Hmm.
And currently, the average in the whole e-commerce world of repeat customers or returning customers is between 10 to 30%,
Hmm.
depending on the industry as well. And I think if you get your loyalty program right, this can be even doubled. So like,
Okay.
having 50 to 60% repeat purchase rate. So I think uh, that's a good that's a great goal to have. But even just to increase it by 20% with the loyalty program makes a lot of impact and differences. So, for example, with if there's a brand having a 40% returning customer rate, compared to, they can do 50% more revenue compared to a brand who has only like 10% returning customer rate
Hmm.
without any new customer acquisition cost. So it really worth, in my opinion, to put effort and invest in setting up the right tools for you for retention.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you used used this word. So what does it mean? Setting the loyalty program right. What are what was the framework? I mean, the playbook. For someone who would like to do it the correct way. I'm not talking about like the technical part of implementation, obviously, but what are the steps to do it right?
So when the brand didn't have a loyalty program before and they don't have data on what works and what not, I think first trying out like a simple points program
Mhm.
with VIP tiers is a great way to get started. And for that, first you will have to add rules on what you give points for to your signed up members. And here I usually recommend, or to brands who are just starting out with the loyalty program, is that they give points for actions that don't require a purchase. So, for example, just signing up to the newsletter or following the brand's Instagram or any kind of social media, or I don't know, giving your birthday at your account. So giving points for these and seeing that I get my point balance up even before I make a purchase can be super motivating,
Mhm.
especially when they get to the point where they make their first purchase. They will already have points that they could, if you set up the redeeming part, they would have points that they can use for discounts even at the first purchase, which is super motivating for them to see and makes them more likely to come back. And even if we talk about memberships, so which is in a more mature state of a company or of a brand's life, but even with memberships, what we usually do is that, let's say, Plus brands can upsell memberships right at checkout, and when they upsell that membership, and if we say the membership means like a 10% discount on all products, then we apply that 10% on that one purchase, on that first purchase when they purchase the membership as well. So it's super. The point. My point is that it's super important so that customers see the value of being signed up to the loyalty program at the first purchase as well.
Hmm.
And as for a benchmark or how they should set up the app, uh, obviously you will need to experiment with that, but usually as in general for a first setting that we usually do or suggest is that if you make the if the customer makes the first purchase, they should get an amount of point which will mean 5 to 10% discount on the next purchase. I think that's a
Okay.
good standard.
Okay. That's really interesting. Uh, yeah, I really like this bit you said about asking customers for non-purchase action. I think it gives you like some additional value, and it can generate some, I don't know, user-generated content for your marketing purposes, or uh, it can provide you with some insights. You can ask customer for let's say, I don't know, answering some survey. We will just gather some information and improve some area of your e-commerce. So that's like a really interesting topic. Okay, so we have this covered. I wonder what are the yeah, like next steps. Like, okay, let's say that you know that you have this program set up, right? And you want to double down on it, and you want to, like, I don't know, let's say increase the number of members, or you want to activate those who are like idle or something like that. What are some tactics you can share here?
Yeah. So I think first it's if you set up a loyalty program, you should definitely wait a few weeks to see how that goes. Because, for example, we had this client or brand who started with the loyalty program, and after 2 weeks there was just like a, I don't know, 0.5% or 1% redemption rate, and we didn't understand what the problem is. And basically they set up the app the way that only like the fourth purchase uh, made sense for the customers to redeem the points. So basically it was all kind of a settings problem. So I think first it's important to have like a good setup, and
Hmm.
usually I really suggest any brands to do it together with the brand, with the company who provided the tool for the retention. But if you have it set up, like wait a few weeks, and then analyze the results. Usually, as I said, these tools show some kind of an analytics, and even if something is not in there, you can still ask for it from the tool provider, and after that you can see where the problem is, whether it is redemption rate, or let's say people are not opening the emails about their point balance, or I don't know, there are not that many new members. So you can, based on the analytics, you can see which step of the customer journey is not working well when it comes to loyalty, and then
Hmm.
you can change based on that. But for this, it's also important, I think, to talk with the customers, like, okay, if they signed up, why didn't you redeem your points and stuff like that. So I think it all comes down to a lot of analytics, and talking with customers. And I, I'm not just saying this because I work in this, but like sitting down for a meeting with the provider of the retention tool
Hmm.
is, I think, is super important, because they see the industry standards, they see what works and what didn't work for the similar size brands in the similar industry in a similar location, and they can just build up a loyalty program for you based on that, and can suggest changes. So for example, with many big brands that we are working with, we do like these monthly audits
Mm-hmm.
where we offer for them to check their metrics, and if there are problems, or they are not satisfied, or we think that they could be improved, then we come up with a plan on how to improve them, and change it based on that. So I think it's super important, even if you get it right, to always analyze and then change a bit based on that.
Mm-hmm. Very, very interesting. Can you share some stories of like maybe or cases where the implementation didn't go well, and like what were the reasons behind it?
um, yeah, I mean, I think this brand that I don't want to name, but the one I said before, they were excited to have like a loyalty program set up, and they decided to set it up for themselves, and yeah, they wanted results in like 1 to 2 weeks, and I think the revenue generated from the app was only like $800 after 3 weeks, which is like super little, at least for this size of a brand. uh, and they were just wondering like what the problem was, and we were also like, oh shit, maybe for these kind of brands it doesn't work, or like what the problem could be. And what we saw is that their setting was that um, people or customers could only start to redeem points once they purchased for like $130 or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
even though their average order value was between $20 to $30. So
Mm-hmm.
if you think about it, a customer had to come back like 4 or 5 times before they would even be able to redeem
Mm-hmm.
start redeeming their points, and that's why their redemption rate was so low and the app wasn't generating much. um, so this was like an implementation problem or a setup problem, and this is why it's super important to get the basics right and think it through. So yeah, this was one. Other than that, yeah, it's yeah. If I'm being honest, we once now it's already solved and it's working. But once there was a customer who migrated at once 1 million customers, and the app just stopped working for them, or started to give
Showing some
points.
troubles, right?
So like, yeah, so that but also obviously this was not for the fault of the brand. This was on our side, but we fixed it, and now it works with as many users as you can imagine. But yeah, I think this is the two like mistakes, or two examples that came to my mind.
Okay, thanks for the honesty. By the way, that's very valuable. Yeah, but I believe it's like these technical issues is often is very common when building a product, and I think it's not even um, a sin of new brands, new products. It happens to at all stages.
Yeah.
So I believe we've seen worse than this. Okay, Martin. So I wanted to ask about one more thing that came to my mind when you were talking about these cases. Um, I wonder if there are some industries or like brand types that are like the obvious choice for I mean, like the perfect fit for loyalty programs. And if there are some brands or industries that don't want see just won't see any results, and it makes no sense to implement this kind of solution.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I believe that since many of the solutions are not that expensive, it usually worth implementing them for all type of brands, because in every sector you can find something that works and something that retains people, even if they, let's say, they just come back like 2 times a year. But if you sell them a membership, they won't change stores. So like, I think it makes sense for every sector, but obviously there are some sectors or industries where it makes more sense, and where we see most of our customers, for example, coming from. And those are usually beauty, health, yeah, cosmetics, fashion, supplements, food and beverages. So like, where you can imagine that people are buying like at least once a month.
Yeah,
These,
obviously, yeah.
these are the sectors that are mainly using loyalty programs, and the sectors that aren't, or that we see not that many of, like, like electronics or electric goods, like phones and stuff,
Probably furniture, like the
furniture.
ones in a lifetime,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
maybe
We have a
like
few like
cars, etc.
sauna stores and stuff. So like
Right.
this, and for example, like, we before we built Love Loyalty, we had like a product options app, and for this product options app, it helps brands sell customized, super customized goods. And they were selling like all type of stuff, like yeah, pools and saunas and like super customized furnitures. And then we started Love Loyalty, and you can imagine how hard it was for us to get those customers using our new app, because it was completely the opposite.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like for I'm not an expert, but for pools and saunas, you have some probably some complementary products that you need to
Yes,
like
yes,
refill.
yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably the brands that are in this field and using our app, they are using it because of that,
Probably, yeah.
not because of.
All right. So, what about like building or maybe combining somehow the online with offline? Can you leverage your physical stores into building loyalty as well, and do something
Yes,
about it?
yes. So our app is also or supports POS, and definitely with I think with the most innovative solutions, you can easily not only earn your points when you go into a store and purchase something there, but you can also redeem your points that you made online. So most brands who take this loyalty seriously, they offer the loyalty program in physical stores as well. One drawback that we have here is not for the loyalty part, for the points program part, because it works seamlessly, is that currently Shopify doesn't support brands to sell memberships in physical stores.
Hmm.
So let's say, so if you have a membership already, and because you purchased it online, and then you go into a physical store and buy something, you also you get the discount there, or any perk that your membership is applied for, but you cannot purchase the membership there.
Okay, cool.
This is something that I hope that, I don't know, there will be a workaround or something like that, because we see many clients in need of this.
Okay, I see. All right. I would like to switch gears to a slightly different subject now, and I would like to talk about like choosing the right uh, program, like the right app or solution, because like I can name, like, I have some on top of my head. I can list like at least, I don't know, five loyalty programs that our customers use, like, Yotpo or Loyalty Lion or Growwave,
Yeah.
Smile, etc. And I believe there are like dozens, if not hundreds, of them in the Shopify App Store. And when we first talked, and you shared some insight about your app, I was thinking like, okay, so you have guys like couple thousand customers, you have like 200 5-star reviews. So first thing that came into my mind was, hey, these guys are either crazy or they have some balls on them, and or both. And then I thought that this result showed that you guys must be doing something right. And I am wondering on like, what's the story behind your product, and what was how did you come up to this idea that there is still a room for a loyalty app in a market that is already so crowded?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think we are a bit crazy for sure, but the reason why we started this loyalty app is that, as I mentioned, we previously built another app, and we knew that we want to build something on a bigger market. So we searched the market on purpose, or like we checked where there are still room for improvements. And how it started is that first we talked with our customers from our previous app, and also we have two Hungarian apps, and we talked with those customers as well. And the problem that we talked about in the beginning came up a lot, that customer acquisition costs are getting higher and higher. And we also asked these brands, like, what do they do about that, or how do they try to cope with it? And they mentioned that they are using loyalty programs. And we checked the results with the brands who were pretty close to us, like how the loyalty programs work out for them, and most of them didn't work out for them. They were either too expensive and didn't generate as much revenue as they hoped for, or their customer support was not helping them. And I believe, as I said, that the best way to get it right is to work together with the loyalty provider. So it didn't happen. And from the end customer's point of view, it was, just super hard to understand how the loyalty program works. They we talked with brands customers, and they just didn't find their point balance. Even though if they were returning customers, they didn't find their point balance. They didn't know how to redeem the points. They didn't know the value of their points. So it seemed like, if and we checked the solutions, we tried them, and it seemed that most of the solutions were outdated and not the right fit for most of the brands. uh, and most of them were using like these pop-up widgets. And let's say you are a customer and you are going through the flow of purchasing a product.
Mhm.
It just doesn't make sense to having to, like, click a small bubble on the bottom of the page, open it, and then like click like 5 times until you get to a code which you can copy, and then you can apply it once
Yeah.
you go to checkout. So like it was just too complicated. And that's why we came up with the idea of, doing something here in this area. So we talked with a lot of brands, we talked with a lot of customers of brands, and then we sketched up ideas, and then we arrived with the idea of love loyalty. And basically, the main thing that we do differently is that we are adding loyalty placements throughout the entire customer journey. So brands have the option to choose from more than 15 placements on the storefront so that they can experiment which work best for them. Starting from a placement in the product page through the cart page to checkout and thank you pages, account page, loyalty page. So we have many touch points on the storefront where the customers can understand the value of and the meaning of the whole loyalty program. And this way, the brands can experiment on how what their customers resonate with. And this turned out to be working well. So instead of using
Mhm.
pop-up widgets and inefficient UX solutions, we just made it that it is simple and it makes sense for the customer about how it works.
Mhm.
And I think the one of the most important things is that if it's a non Shopify Plus brand, is that we enable them to redeem their points in the cart with just 2 clicks and view their point balance there, and it makes a lot of difference. And also, we do the same with we are following the same approach with memberships that we recently launched. That putting it in front of the customer where they see the value of it. What I told you about upselling the membership at checkout with one
Mhm.
click. So just we are just trying to simplify the whole process, and brands really understand that this is what their customers need for retaining them.
Mhm. That's like really both inspiring and impressive.
Thank you.
And to be honest, like I can't believe that it's not a standard in this industry. And like breaking the user flow, it's like is a no brainer, right? That you shouldn't be doing. And I wonder how come that brands are like most of the loyalty apps are doing it wrong, and I believe it's just that's my just assumption that they are just copying each other and they're not listening to customers.
Yeah, exactly. I think that, like, maybe 10 years ago, when the first loyalty apps came out, they just started that, and basically everyone thought that, yeah, this is the standard for loyalty, so we should do loyalty like this. And we just follow the different approach.
Okay, cool. One more thing that comes to mind. Are there any other functionalities that like or features that one should look for in a loyalty app? Like I'm thinking like the thing, the thought that triggered this question is that I believe that I would like to have my loyalty program integrated with Klaviyo or something like that. So or
Yeah,
like and other tools in Shopify ecosystem.
yeah, of course. So I think obviously first, if you are looking for a loyalty tool, there should be like a points program. There should be a VIP tiers program, usually a referral program. Memberships is a good choice. But other than that, I think it's super important that it integrates well with other apps, especially with email tools. So Klaviyo or just Shopify Flow, and our app does this. So obviously, emailing is super important. But I think what's also important is that if you want your app to work smoothless, I think choosing an app that is following or keeping up with Shopify's latest technologies is super important. So, for example, our app is completely embedded in Shopify. We use Shopify's UI components. We use its latest technologies. unlike the others, we use meta fields to store the loyalty data, which makes the app super fast. So it like loads instantly on the storefront. It makes it safe and reliable. So yeah, I think getting the basic features right, finding an app which integrates with many other apps, also not only email but like review apps or subscription apps and stuff like that, and that it works well within Shopify, because there are a lot of apps who are not focused on Shopify, but they are like multi-platform
Yeah.
solutions. And I think it's always better to find, if you're on Shopify, it's always better to find a solution that really is focusing on Shopify.
Yeah, I can confirm from like my own background. Like we are like as an agency, we are doing Shopify only,
Mhm.
and it just works well for our growth and for our customers. So we have like this focus, like very 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 well defined, and it definitely accelerates growth. Martin, as we are coming to an end of this conversation, I would like for you to think about like some three action points on like most valuable insights for merchants, some things that they can do right away in terms of like building loyalty program for themselves.
Yeah, I think the first one should be is to find some customers who retained already or who are returning, and talk with them. Just talk with them about why they came back, and try to find like what would motivate them to come back even more. So like whether it's discounts or whether it's specific products or free products or stuff like that. So I think talking with users who already came back to purchase, because if you are following the same strategy, what made them come back, then more and more people can come back. Then um, then test out what type of loyalty program you need. So like even if you have a points program set up, I would just definitely think that trying out different solutions maybe helps you improve the retention metrics, and just to experiment with what combination of a points program, VIP tiers, or memberships um, work well for you. And the third one is also connected to finding the right solution, is to find a tool where the customer support is really caring and takes you seriously. Because if you really want to success in your retention metrics, I think it's a must to like be as close to the tool provider as possible, because they are the ones who are understanding that better.
Okay, Martin, one thing I would like to uh, ask before we go, is there some counterintuitive piece of advice that you might like share, like something that would be doesn't come to mind so obviously.
Experiment with or test every far-fetched loyalty idea or retention idea that you have. So this can mean like offering your members uh, like a super interesting perk. Like, I don't know, just an example: if you are a fashion brand, offering a perk to have a 10-minute chat with one of the designers of the brand. And this is like something that is interesting, but it might work. So like trying it might work for members. You might see like a 20% or 50% increase in your member numbers if you offer such perks. So like trying every ideas that you have until you get it right.
Okay. Okay, Martin. So if somebody wants to learn more about love loyalty or get in touch with you and talk some details, how can they get you and find out more about your app?
So if you want to connect, or if they want to connect with me, I'm easy to find on LinkedIn if they can write up my name. But yeah, on LinkedIn I'm always trying to share some information about our app or some tips that might be helpful. So maybe that's a good point. Or just installing Love Loyalty and writing to the chat support. We get back instantly, and we are happy to set up a call with anyone and suggest the right loyalty program for them, or at least try it. And it's we are happy to have these calls for free. We are setting up the app free of charge for the merchants. So yeah, this LinkedIn and live chat, that's the
Cool.
two best way.
All right, Martin. So thank you very much for the call.
Thanks a lot.
For the conversation, and hope to talk to you soon. I think that it was really insightful and really inspiring. I think not only merchants, but possibly some people who want to build their own product in Shopify ecosystem would can benefit from this conversation.
Hopefully. Thanks a lot for having me.